Prospect Park, with its towering trees, luscious gardens, bamboo forest, orange groves, and stunning views, has filled my imagination since I was 5 years old. I have many precious memories of this park, and they could not be at a better place. I was shocked to hear that in the past, this beautiful landscape was once at risk of being destroyed for homes. I am coming from this topic as someone who has been visiting and enjoying the park. Prospect Park was preserved by the community in Redlands in fear of losing their cultural heritage, a defining feature of their city, and a piece of their identity. Prospect Park is a botanical city park located in Redlands, California at the corner of Highland and Cajon Street, and is 39 acres in size with 24 acres of orange groves. The park sits on gently sloping hills that tower over the city. The park features long winding paths surrounded by gardens and facilities to picnic. The landscape of this park embodies the heritage and culture of the city, especially with the presence of the orange trees. Blending in perfectly with the park is the Kimberly Crest House and Gardens, which is a Victorian French chateau mansion with a Mediterranean-style garden, which is also open to the public as part of the agreement with the preservation of Prospect Park. The atmosphere of the park, along with Kimberly Crest together, manifests the heritage and culture of the city. This park has existed in the city since the 1890s, and its history goes back even further. The park became an important piece of the identity of Redlands due to its long history with the city. Prospect Park, before it was known in the 1870s, started out as a barn to store equipment by the founders of the city, Judson and Brown. Later, it was converted into the city's first hotel and then a residence in the late 1880s. Later, the land was bought by a wealthy winter resident named T.Y. England. He bought around 60 acres around Prospect Hill. With some advice and inspiration from the Smiley's Canyon Crest Park, just a block away, he adorned the land with gardens, rare shrubs, ponds, and trees. The park was designed with long winding roads for horse and buggy. These roads were bordered with trees and beds of flowering plants. The park was open to the public until it was closed during the Great Depression, along with the community's other private park, Canyon Crest Park. This was due to the high upkeep value and the city's refusal to make concessions on property tax and water rights. The park was open to the public again after a while, and then in 1963, the park was put up for sale for $560,000. Soon after it was up for sale, an out-of-town interest already was offering to buy the land. Many citizens in Redlands quickly jumped into action and created a committee to preserve the park. A federal grant was filed which would pay for 20% of the park. The remainder of the sales price would be funded by a bond measure, which the citizens of the city would vote on. What ensued next was a drawn-out battle between opposing sides. The main argument by the opposing side was one of economics. The supporters of the park bond had many strong arguments to defend their status. They argued that Redlands needed more park acreage to meet the National Recreation Association standards, that losing the park would be a significant loss to the heritage of the community, also that the park was irreplaceable in location, trees, landscape, and that the city needed a distinguishing feature, or it would have a similar fate as Pomona. The citizens of Redlands did not want their city to become a sea of houses. Experts also got involved in the discussion. Peter Dangermond, the county park designer, explained that the park could pay for itself with its orange grove yield and water rights. Another expert, Russell W. Porter, a recreation specialist with the State Department of Parks, argued that this park would be great for Redlands' deficient parkland and would at the same time preserve a piece of their historical past. Although many citizens were passionate about preservation, the bond lost at a surprisingly large margin. However, even that did not deter the citizens from attaining the land. They convinced the owners of the park to hold off selling it to out-of-town interest, in hopes that they could find an alternative for raising funds for the park. In 5 years, they eventually raised around $212,000, and combined with the federal grant, were able to purchase the park for the city at $424,000. One factor that played a large role in the preservation of this park was the loss of another similar historical park in the city, called Canyon Crest Park, or as it was also known, Smiley Heights. This park was the residence of the two patron saints of the city, the Smiley twins, who were known for their philanthropy towards the Redlands community. They gifted the library to the city, and much more. They opened their private estate of 200 acres to the public, which consisted of long winding roads suitable for horse and buggy, botanical gardens, flower beds, orange groves, ponds, and stunning views of the city and the surrounding San Bernardino Mountains. This private park was sold off to a home development company, intent on building luxurious homes on the land, in 1962. There was some backlash by the citizens, but not enough to stop what was to come. This park saw a huge loss in the history and heritage for the city. 1 year later, Prospect Park found itself in the same situation. The loss of the famous historical park of Smiley Heights prompted many citizens to save Prospect Park. Heritage and identity played a tremendous role in the preservation of this park. The city saw rapid change in the 60s, and this park, along with Kimberly Crest, became their main tie with their past. It became an irreplaceable part of the landscape of Redlands. Today, Prospect Park is celebrating its 50th year of being a city park.